Hey everyone, ready to dive deep into the world of the Sandman Season 2? Released on July 3, 2025, this final chapter has sparked endless discussions, and today we're uncovering every thrilling detail. If you enjoy this deep dive, don't forget to hit that like button. It really helps us grow. And for more incredible movie explorations and hidden gems, subscribe to the channel. Now, let's unravel the magic behind this cinematic masterpiece. The story picks up after Dream has restored his kingdom, but finds that his past is still chasing him. The first half of the season landed with 6 episodes, and from the start, you feel a shift. This isn't about rebuilding anymore. It's about reckoning. Dream's decision to grant his son Orpheus the peace of death becomes the thread that unravels everything. It's not just a personal choice. It's a cosmic violation. The Furies rise. The rules he thought he understood start to bend. And the cost? He has no idea how deep it goes. Then we're thrown into a road trip that's unlike anything we've seen from the Endless. Delirium convinces Dream to search for their lost brother Destruction. And that journey, while often strange and surreal, becomes one of the most grounded and emotional parts of the season. Destruction, once the bringer of change, has gone silent. He's chosen peace, walked away from his responsibilities, and now lives quietly, watching the world spin on without him. Barry Sloane brings a calm, almost sad wisdom to the role. When the 3 siblings finally reunite, it's not about power. It's about choice, about walking away from destiny, or facing it head-on. The second half of the season dropped on July 24th, and with it came chaos. The kindly ones begin their pursuit. They're not just avengers. They are rage, justice, memory. And they don't stop. As they move through realms, tearing down everything Dream has tried to protect, we start to understand just how fragile this world is. Every decision has weight. Every regret becomes a weapon. In the background, we see Desire playing their usual games, always pulling strings, nudging events just far enough off course. But even Desire seems shaken by what's coming. Because this time, the end doesn't feel like a punishment. Feels like a choice. Wanda returns in this season with more presence and heart than ever before. She's reimagined, with care and strength, and her role in the Brief Lives arc gives the show a real human grounding. She's not a side character anymore. She's essential. Not a Story also finally comes full circle. Her exile to hell wasn't just a punishment. It was a mirror. One that forces Dream to face who he was when he condemned her, and who he has become now. The cast is in full form. Tom Sturridge is colder, sharper, but more vulnerable. Gwendoline Christie as Lucifer holds every scene with a quiet, terrifying grace. Kirby Howell-Baptiste as Death returns in a bonus episode that's stripped down and beautiful. That chapter, released July 31st, is one of the season's most powerful moments. It steps away from the epic and focuses on something small and real. Death walking through a normal day. No gods, no battles, just people, and what they leave behind. The finale doesn't shout. It reflects. Dream's fate, hinted at through the prophecy earlier in the season, plays out not with fire or blood, but with acceptance. The Endless gather. Some angry, some grieving, all of them aware that something permanent is happening. There's a line that lingers long after the screen fades to black. A reminder that even the Endless end. But stories don't. This season might not have the same punchy pace as the first. It's slower, more poetic. But that's the point. It's about consequences. It's about what happens when gods stop pretending they're above it all. And it sticks with you. This season doesn't just continue the narrative. It finishes it. The second volume dropped later in the month, on July 24th, bringing with it the final pieces of a grand puzzle that had been building since the very first episode of Season 1. And then, like a quiet coda whispered after the last note of a symphony, a bonus episode titled Death. The High Cost of Living appeared on July 31st. That release marked the true end, not just of a show, but of something deeper. A vision. A world that millions had already fallen into. And this final stretch gave them every reason to fall even further. So what makes the Sandman Season 2 not just good, but unforgettable? It's not just the visual design, although that's clearly stunning, painted skies, impossible architecture, gods made of light and shadows. It's not just the performances, though those are razor-sharp too. It's that this season dares to be about something. It's about the weight of choice, the pain of change, the cost of memory. It doesn't flinch. It doesn't simplify. And it never once talks down to its audience. It demands your attention. And then it rewards it. The plot opens with a quiet storm brewing. Dream, still dealing with the fallout from the events of the first season, is faced with something more dangerous than demons or rogue nightmares. His past. A decision he made long ago, one that seemed justified at the time, now comes back to haunt him. He once punished a woman named Nada with an eternity in hell for rejecting him. He did it out of pride. Now he wants to undo it. But in doing so, he risks breaking rules that govern even the endless. That one act of compassion sets off a chain reaction that unravels everything. Meanwhile, Delirium, his youngest sibling, convinces him to help her find their long-lost brother Destruction. What starts as a quest across fantastical realms turns into something far more intimate. Destruction didn't just disappear. He walked away from his role. He made a choice. And in the world of the Sandman, that kind of choice carries consequences not just for one person, but for the fabric of reality itself. The Orpheus arc is the emotional backbone of the season. Dream's son, yes, he had a son, is a character pulled straight from ancient myth and injected with modern pain. When Dream finds him again, Orpheus is broken, asking for the one thing his father was never willing to give: release. And this time, Dream grants it, not just as a father, but as someone who finally sees the truth about himself. That decision, the mercy killing of his own son, is the point of no return. It shatters the laws that bind the endless, and it invites the wrath of the Furies, ancient beings of vengeance who won't stop until balance is restored. From there, the show accelerates and tightens. The kindly ones begin their hunt. Dream's kingdom, already fragile, starts to fall apart. Friends turn away, enemies circle, and the line between justice and revenge becomes almost impossible to see. Through it all, Dream walks with a kind of sad dignity, a man made of ideas trying to understand how to be a person. And here's where the show becomes something rare. It's not just about what happens, it's about what it means. Dream doesn't face a villain in the traditional sense. His greatest enemy is himself. His pride, his sense of duty, his unwillingness to bend. And yet, when he finally chooses to end his own story, to let go of everything he's built in order to set things right, it doesn't feel like defeat. Feels like grace. The performances are almost impossibly good. Tom Sturridge, who plays Dream, shifts between ethereal stillness and raw emotion with such ease that you stop noticing the acting and just see the character. Kirby Howell-Baptiste's death is warm, real, and grounding. Gwendoline Christie's Lucifer commands every moment with quiet fury. Indya Moore brings Wanda to life with tenderness and strength. And Barry Sloane as Destruction is a revelation. Gentle, haunted, someone who chose peace and paid for it. The visual language of the show is on another level. Every realm feels distinct. Delirium's world is a swirl of unpredictable color and noise, while Destiny's Garden feels like something that's always existed, just beyond the edge of our dreams. Even Hell, which could have been played for shock, is instead a place of haunting stillness, where sorrow echoes louder than screams. And then there's that final episode. Death's standalone story. It's quiet. It's small. It follows her through one ordinary day, as she meets people at the end of their lives. No explosions. No gods. Just moments. A musician. A child. An old man. And in those quiet goodbyes, the show reminds us what it's really been about all along. Not power. Not punishment. But the value of a single life and the beauty of choosing how it ends. So why did The Sandman Season 2 become such a cultural moment? It's because it trusts the viewer. It doesn't spoon-feed anything. It's unapologetically weird. It mixes mythology, horror, dream logic, and quiet poetry in a way that no other show has dared to. It respects your intelligence. It respects your heart. And in doing so, it opens up a conversation that stays with you long after the screen goes black. People didn't just watch this season. They felt it. They argued about it. They revisited it. The show gave them something that's increasingly rare: the space to reflect. In a world of instant content, the Sandman made people slow down, think, feel. And if you're still with me now, you're probably already one of those people who felt the shift, who saw themselves somewhere in those broken gods and wandering souls, who understood that the end of this story wasn't about destruction. It was about change, about growth, about letting go. This season didn't just close a chapter. It gave a send-off worthy of myth. And even if Dream's story ends here, the ideas he embodied, the need to evolve, the courage to break your own rules, the grace to accept the cost, those ideas live on. In us. In every story we choose to tell next. The world of the Sandman Season 2 opens in a place that feels both familiar and unsettling: Dream's realm. A vast kingdom crafted from shadows, memories, and stories. After the intense events of the first season, Dream is rebuilding his domain, but the cracks beneath the surface are already showing. The air hums with tension, the calm before a storm no one can quite name yet. Right away, the season pulls you into the weight Dream carries. Not just the burden of his duties as the Lord of Dreams, but the personal mistakes he's made. There's a quiet desperation beneath his poised exterior. He's a god, yes, but he's also tired, haunted by choices that echo through time. The first episodes introduce us to several key players who will shape the course of what's to come. Among them is Wanda, a character who, while known from the comics, gets a fresh and compelling reimagining here. She isn't just a side note or a mystery. She's someone who grounds the story in a very human reality. A survivor who refuses to be defined by pain or loss. Her arc early on hints at the themes of identity and resilience that run throughout the season. And then there's Orpheus, Dream's son. A figure ripped straight from ancient myth but rendered heartbreakingly real. Orpheus is trapped, broken by grief and longing, desperate for release from a life twisted by his father's choices. His presence looms large over these early episodes, setting a tragic tone that colors everything Dream does. The father-son conflict isn't just personal. It's cosmic. What's fascinating about this first half is how it builds tension quietly but relentlessly. There's no rush. The story lets moments breathe, scenes where Dream confronts his own regrets, where siblings like Delirium and Desire make their cryptic appearances, where the rules of the endless start to feel more like shackles than privileges. Every encounter, every decision carries the weight of inevitability. A pivotal early moment comes when Dream makes a choice that shatters the fragile balance of his world. Without spoiling too much, it involves a mercy granted to Orpheus, a decision that defies ancient laws and stirs forces that won't be silenced. The Furies, those relentless harbingers of vengeance, are awakened. Their wrath is not something to be taken lightly, and their hunt for justice drives much of the narrative tension that follows. As the episodes unfold, Dream's journey takes on new dimensions. The search for destruction, the brother who vanished long ago, becomes more than a quest. It's a meditation on freedom and responsibility, loss and acceptance. Destruction's absence is a wound felt by all the endless, but especially by Dream and Delirium. When they finally track him down, the reunion is bittersweet. Destruction has chosen a different path, one that questions the very nature of power and duty. The interactions between Dream and Destruction are some of the most emotionally charged in this first half. Destruction isn't the violent force his name suggests. Instead, he embodies the quiet unraveling of old orders, the possibility that breaking away can be an act of courage rather than cowardice. Barry Sloane's portrayal brings layers of melancholy and peace, making Destruction a character you want to understand and root for. Meanwhile, Desire and Despair work behind the scenes with their own agendas. Desire, always cunning and manipulative, weaves subtle threads that pull characters toward inevitable confrontations. Despair's silent suffering offers a counterpoint, reminding us that even gods are not immune to pain. These siblings' presence adds texture to the story, making the family dynamics feel real, complicated, and often painful. Visual storytelling is equally compelling. The settings shift between stark, otherworldly realms and intimate, human moments. Delirium's chaotic, vibrant world contrasts sharply with Destiny's ordered, timeless garden. Hell, a place of punishment, is depicted with surprising stillness and sorrow, turning expectations on their head. Each location feels like a character itself, reflecting the emotional beats of the story. The first half also dives into the complexities of the Endless themselves. These are not infallible beings. They make mistakes. They suffer consequences. Dream's interactions with them reveal a family strained by long-held grudges, misunderstandings, and unmet needs. Delirium's presence is especially poignant. Her childlike unpredictability masks deep pain and fierce loyalty. Watching these siblings navigate their relationships adds a rich emotional layer. Foreshadowing threads run deep, from whispered prophecies to symbolic imagery. The season hints at the chaos to come. Dream's world, as perfect as he tries to make it, is fragile. The rules that have held for eons are bending. The past refuses to stay buried. The Furies hunt, the unraveling of alliances, the inevitable confrontation. Each piece is a pulse that quickens as the story pushes forward. What's remarkable about these episodes is how they balance the epic and the intimate. Grand mythological stakes sit alongside moments of raw, personal heartbreak. Dream's sorrow over Orpheus, the tenderness between siblings, the silent regrets whispered in shadowed corners. All of it builds a narrative that's as much about emotions as it is about gods and magic. As the first half of the season closes, the tension tightens. The Furies are closing in. Dream's world starts to crack. Characters make choices that feel irreversible. The stage is set for a reckoning not just of power, but of identity, forgiveness, and sacrifice. If there's one thing this first half makes clear, it's that the Sandman isn't about simple good versus evil. It's about the complexity of family, the pain of change, and the courage it takes to face yourself when the story you've told yourself for centuries no longer fits. As the story pushes past the midpoint, the tension that simmered beneath the surface in the first half bursts into a storm of consequences. Dream's world, already fragile, begins to unravel in ways no one could have foreseen. The choice to grant Orpheus release was not just a personal mercy, it shattered the cosmic order. The Furies, ancient embodiments of vengeance and justice, awaken with relentless fury. Their hunt is not just a quest for punishment. It's a reckoning, a force of nature that will not be denied. The arrival of the kindly ones sends shockwaves through every realm. These Avengers are not mindless monsters. They are spectral judges, carrying the weight of ancient law and memory. Their presence turns Dream's kingdom into a battlefield where old debts must be paid. Each encounter with the Furies feels like a piece of history coming to life, threads of myth woven into brutal reality. As Dream tries to protect his realm and those he cares for, alliances begin to fray. Friends and allies face impossible choices. Morpheus's authority is questioned, and cracks appear in his usually impenetrable facade. The show dives deep into the psychology of power and guilt, showing how even gods are vulnerable to doubt and regret. In the midst of this chaos, the siblings of the Endless circle closer. Desire's manipulations grow bolder, their smiles hiding sharp edges. Their games seem cruel, but they force the characters to confront truths they'd rather avoid. Desire's rivalry with Dream is more than sibling rivalry. It's a clash of ideologies about control, freedom, and fate. Despair remains a quiet but haunting presence, a reminder that pain is universal, even among immortals. Her moments in the shadows are brief but searing, adding emotional depth and foreshadowing the cost of what's to come. Meanwhile, Delirium, with her unpredictable energy, pushes Dream toward understanding and change. Their journey to find destruction culminates in an encounter that is both bittersweet and profound. Destruction, long absent, has chosen to abandon his role, living in peaceful obscurity. His decision challenges the very idea of responsibility that defines the Endless. This reunion is one of the season's emotional high points, revealing the burden each sibling carries. Destruction's quiet resignation stands in stark contrast to Dream's relentless sense of duty. It raises questions about sacrifice, freedom, and the possibility of rewriting one's own story. Back in Dream's realm, the stakes escalate rapidly. The Furies close in with increasing ferocity, tearing through allies and shattering sanctuaries. The lines between friend and foe blur as desperation grows. The weight of ancient laws clashes with the desire for mercy and redemption, creating a tension that crackles with every scene. Lucifer, portrayed with a chilling calm by Gwendoline Christie, remains a powerful wild card. Their scenes are marked by a haunting serenity, a reminder that chaos and order are often two sides of the same coin. Lucifer's enigmatic motives add a layer of mystery, leaving viewers questioning where their loyalties truly lie. The emotional core of the season deepens as Wanda's story unfolds. She becomes more than a catalyst. She is a symbol of resilience and humanity amid divine conflict. Her interactions with Dream and other characters bring a much-needed grounding, reminding us that even gods are affected by the lives they touch. In a standout moment, Death steps forward in a quietly powerful standalone episode. This chapter strips away the grandeur and focuses on the small, poignant moments of mortality. Watching Death move through a single day, meeting people at their end, adds a layer of warmth and acceptance. It's a meditation on life's fragility and the beauty found in endings. As the finale approaches, all narrative threads weave tightly together. The Furies' relentless pursuit forces Dream to confront the consequences of his choices fully. Every relationship, every secret, every regret culminates in a confrontation that is as much about forgiveness as it is about justice. The resolution is not bombastic. Instead, it is a subtle and powerful reckoning. Dream chooses to face the end with grace, accepting that even the endless are not immune to finality. The gathering of the siblings in the closing moments speaks to the themes of family, change, and the cyclical nature of existence. The closing scenes linger long after the credits roll, offering viewers a moment to reflect on everything that has come before. The story may end, but its ideas ripple outward, about identity, legacy, and the courage to let go. This second half doesn't just conclude the story, it elevates it. It challenges viewers to think deeply about power, responsibility, and what it means to be human even when you're a god. In the Sandman Season 2, the characters are the beating heart of the story, each one layered with complexity and driven by desires, regrets, and transformations that make the series feel alive and deeply human, even when they are gods and mythical beings. At the center stands Dream himself, the embodiment of stories, sleep, and the fragile line between reality and dreams. Played with haunting subtlety by Sturridge, Dream is a figure of both immense power and profound vulnerability. His journey this season is one of reckoning, not just with external threats but with the heavy burden of his own choices. From the very start, Dream is portrayed as a ruler burdened by the weight of immortality. His role as the Lord of the Dreaming demands a stoic demeanor, but Sturridge's performance peels back that stoicism to reveal a being grappling with loneliness, pride, and the desire for redemption. The pain in Dream's eyes during moments of loss or doubt speaks volumes. He is a god who has lived through eons but is still learning the cost of mercy and change. His arc, especially as he confronts his son Orpheus and ultimately makes a devastating choice, is one of heartbreaking humanity. That choice is a turning point, a moment when Dream sheds the mask of the untouchable endless and reveals a father, a brother, and a flawed being trying to do right by a world that is constantly shifting beneath his feet. Orpheus, Dream's son, is a tragic figure whose presence looms large over the season. His story draws directly from myth but is transformed here into something deeply emotional. Desperate for release from a life overshadowed by his father's decisions, Orpheus is played with a raw intensity that makes his pain palpable. The tension between Dream and Orpheus isn't just about family drama. It's about the consequences of power, the struggle to find peace, and the sacrifices demanded by duty. This dynamic pushes Dream's character into new emotional territory and raises the stakes for everyone involved. Alongside Dream is Delirium, his youngest sibling, portrayed with vibrant unpredictability that captures the chaos and beauty of her nature. She is both whimsical and profound, a character whose fragmented mind mirrors the fractured world around her. Delirium's quest to find destruction, another sibling who has abandoned his role, is more than a plot device. It's a journey into themes of freedom and the refusal to be bound by destiny. Her interactions with Dream show a rare tenderness between siblings who have endured centuries of pain and misunderstanding. The actress brings a rawness and energy to Delirium that makes her feel like the unpredictable heartbeat of the season. Destruction, the absent sibling who turns up unexpectedly, is a revelation. Far from the violent force his name might suggest, he embodies the quiet power of letting go. Barry Sloane's portrayal is layered with melancholy and peace, presenting a character who has walked away from the responsibilities that once defined him. His presence challenges Dream and the others to rethink what it means to exist beyond assigned roles. Destruction's arc is a meditation on freedom, choosing peace over chaos, and offers a stark contrast to Dream's relentless sense of duty. This dynamic adds emotional depth and philosophical weight to the story. Then there's Desire, the androgynous sibling whose charm hides a sharp, often cruel mind. Desire's role as an antagonist is complex. They are not evil for evil's sake but represent a force of manipulation and challenge. Their relationship with Dream is charged with rivalry and unresolved history, and the way Desire plays games with fate and family pushes the narrative forward in unpredictable ways. The performance captures the character's allure and menace perfectly, making Desire a figure who is both magnetic and unsettling. Despair, Desire's twin, is a quieter but equally compelling presence. Her silent suffering and moments of vulnerability remind viewers that even immortals are touched by pain. Despair's subtle appearances add an emotional layer that deepens the story's exploration of suffering and empathy. The portrayal brings a haunting stillness that lingers, making her more than just a background figure. Death, portrayed by Kirby Howell-Baptiste, deserves special mention. She is a comforting, grounded presence in a world filled with chaos. Her episodes provide a necessary pause, a moment of reflection on life, mortality, and the choices that define us. The warmth and sincerity in Howell-Baptiste's performance bring a humanity to death that transforms her from a symbol into a deeply relatable character. Her scenes often serve as emotional anchors, reminding viewers that endings can be beautiful and meaningful. Supporting characters also shine brightly, adding layers and texture to the story. Wanda, a new addition with a fresh backstory, becomes a vital figure who bridges the divine and the mortal worlds. Her resilience and complexity make her more than just a plot device. She is a survivor whose personal journey mirrors the larger themes of identity and transformation. The way she interacts with Dream and others grounds the story in human emotion, reminding us that even gods are shaped by the lives they touch. Lucifer, with Gwendoline Christie's commanding performance, is a force unto themselves, both an enigma and a catalyst. Their calm yet powerful presence injects scenes with tension and mystery. Lucifer's motivations are never straightforward, and this ambiguity makes every appearance feel significant. They are a character who embodies the duality of order and chaos, reflecting the show's larger themes. The Furies, or the Kindly Ones, bring an ancient, relentless force of justice to the story. They aren't mere villains. They are embodiments of balance and consequence. Their hunt for Dream after his fateful choices introduces a sense of inevitability and doom. The way they are portrayed, both terrifying and tragic, adds a mythic dimension to the narrative. Together, these characters create a tapestry that is as emotionally resonant as it is fantastical. The performances breathe life into what could have been distant archetypes, transforming gods and myths into beings we recognize. Flawed, conflicted, and deeply human. Their motivations are complex, their transformations gradual and earned. Watching their stories unfold feels less like following a plot and more like witnessing a living, breathing exploration of family, duty, love, and loss. The Sandman Season 2 is a testament to how powerful character-driven storytelling can be when paired with bold imagination and emotional honesty. Each character, whether immortal or mortal, contributes to a narrative that stays with you long after the screen fades to black. The world of The Sandman Season 2 isn't just a stunning visual and narrative experience. It's a treasure trove for those who love to dig beneath the surface. Every scene, every frame, pulses with subtle nods, hidden references, and layered symbolism that deepen the story for viewers paying close attention. These details don't just decorate the story. They enrich it, weaving a tapestry that connects myth, literature, and culture in ways that reward curiosity. One of the most fascinating aspects is how the show embraces its roots in mythology and classical literature, while twisting those influences into something fresh and resonant. Take Orpheus, for example, Dream's tragic son. His storyline draws directly from the ancient Greek myth of Orpheus and Eurydice, the doomed musician who journeys to the underworld to retrieve his beloved. But here, the show expands on that myth, infusing it with emotional depth and modern nuance. The way Orpheus carries a lyre that looks aged yet timeless hints at his eternal sorrow and artistic soul. This isn't just a costume choice. It's a symbol of lost hope and the power of storytelling itself. Throughout the season, the use of music and sound further amplifies this connection. Dream's realm often vibrates with echoes of classical compositions, particularly moments where strings and melancholic notes underscore pivotal scenes. These auditory cues don't just set mood. They subtly remind us of the timeless nature of the tales unfolding. Another masterstroke lies in the design of the endless themselves. Each sibling's realm is crafted with symbolic precision. Destiny's Garden, for instance, is filled with clocks, labyrinths, and ancient tomes that reference the inexorable flow of time and fate. But if you look closely, some plants seem to wither or bloom depending on the emotional beats of the episode, signaling that even fate is more malleable than it appears. These small details underscore the season's recurring theme, that even gods are subject to change and uncertainty. Delirium's chaotic world is a kaleidoscope of shifting colors and patterns, reflecting her fractured mind. But hidden within the madness are recurring motifs: butterflies, broken mirrors, and swirling spirals, each one a subtle nod to transformation and fractured identity. These symbols aren't just visual flair. They invite viewers to interpret Delirium's state beyond surface-level chaos, suggesting that beneath her disorder lies a profound connection to the fabric of reality itself. One of the season's cleverest Easter eggs appears during the scenes involving the kindly ones, the Furies. Their appearance is richly layered with mythological references, but it also pays homage to earlier graphic novel portrayals. The Furies' method of haunting and their relentless pursuit echo not just ancient Greek tragedy, but also classic noir films where vengeance is an unstoppable force. Their silent, ghostly presence recalls iconic horror imagery, blending genres to create something uniquely unsettling. Fans of the original comics will notice subtle design elements in their costumes and mannerisms that nod to iconic panels, a respectful wink to the source material. Wanda's storyline is another area packed with hidden meaning. Early in her arc, she wears a necklace with a tiny symbol that looks like a spiral, a subtle but deliberate choice referencing the cyclical nature of the dreaming itself. That spiral reappears in dream sequences, linking her fate to the deeper mysteries of the endless. This isn't a random prop. It's a clue to her role in the story's larger cosmic puzzle. The show also peppers cultural references with a deft hand. For example, when Dream visits a bookstore in one episode, the shelves are lined with classic works of literature that inspired Neil Gaiman's creation, from Shakespeare to Borges. These books don't just decorate the set. They act as silent storytellers, reminding viewers that the Sandman is part of a grand tradition of myth-making and narrative exploration. Foreshadowing is another area where the season excels. Dream's conversations often include cryptic lines that seem casual but later reveal themselves as profound hints. One early scene where Dream speaks of the debt owed to the past gains new weight after the arrival of the Furies, who embody that very concept of unpaid justice. Similarly, brief glimpses of certain symbols, a raven perched silently, a clock with no hands, later come to signify the unraveling of time and order within the dreaming. The visual storytelling hides smaller Easter eggs too. For example, during a tense confrontation, a brief flash shows a tarot card resting on a table, the Hanged Man. This card, associated with sacrifice and new perspectives, quietly signals a character's impending transformation. These kinds of nods are sprinkled throughout the season, creating a layered experience where attentive viewers gain new insights on repeat viewings. Even the color palette carries meaning. Scenes involving desire often feature shades of deep reds and purples, evoking passion and danger. In contrast, moments with despair lean into muted grays and blues, conveying coldness and sorrow. These choices aren't just aesthetic. They reinforce the emotional undercurrents, guiding the audience's feelings without a word being spoken. The show also embraces literary callbacks that sometimes go unnoticed at first glance. One scene shows a character reading a book that turns out to be The Tempest by Shakespeare. This choice isn't accidental. The themes of illusion, power, and reconciliation in The Tempest mirror Dream's own journey, subtly tying the story to a timeless meditation on control and forgiveness. Even the architecture within the dreaming reveals its own secrets. Gothic arches and intricate stained glass hint at the influence of various cultures and eras, suggesting that Dream's realm is not static but built from the collective human imagination across history. Small statues or reliefs in the background often depict mythological creatures or legendary figures, rewarding viewers who pause to take in the scenery. One of the more playful Easter eggs is a brief glimpse of a raven named Matthew, Dream's loyal companion from the comics. Though not heavily featured, his presence is a nod to fans and symbolizes the connection between the mortal world and the dreaming. Ravens, in folklore, often represent mystery and transition, fitting for a story that blurs the lines between life and death, waking and dreaming. This layering of references extends to language too. Characters sometimes use phrases or idioms that are more than casual speech. They are echoes of famous lines from poetry, myth, or philosophy. For instance, Dream's remark about weaving the threads of fate recalls the ancient fates of Greek mythology, who spun, measured, and cut the threads of human lives. These allusions enrich the dialogue with a poetic resonance. The showrunners have clearly delighted in embedding these details to reward viewers who engage deeply. It turns watching The Sandman into an active experience, like wandering a labyrinth where each turn reveals new wonders and mysteries. Even seemingly minor characters have hidden backstories hinted at through small visual cues or dialogue slips, encouraging speculation and discussion. In essence, The Sandman Season 2 doesn't just tell a story. It invites you into a living myth, one that shifts and grows with every viewing. The hidden details and Easter eggs form a web that connects themes of identity, transformation, and legacy. They remind us that stories themselves are dreams, complex, layered, and infinitely fascinating. Behind the mesmerizing world of The Sandman Season 2 lies a tapestry of fascinating stories, moments of sheer creativity, unexpected hurdles, and personal journeys that shape the show as much as the script and performances. The magic you see on screen is the result of countless hours of collaboration, trial, and sometimes sheer stubbornness to get things just right. One of the most remarkable production challenges was capturing the surreal landscapes of the dreaming. The creators wanted these scenes to feel like stepping into a painting that was alive and breathing. To achieve this, the visual effects team blended practical sets with cutting-edge CGI, but it wasn't without its headaches. At one point, the team struggled with rendering the shifting architecture, buildings that bend and twist as if influenced by the thoughts of the dream himself. Early versions looked too artificial or clunky, threatening to pull viewers out of the story. It took weeks of fine-tuning lighting, textures, and camera movements to find the sweet spot where the dreaming felt otherworldly but believable. Interestingly, the actor who plays Dream, Tom Sturridge, became deeply involved in this creative process. Not content to just act, he spent time with the VFX team discussing how Dream's mood and state of mind could subtly influence the environment's tone and colors. This collaboration between actor and tech team is unusual in television, where departments often work in silos. Sturridge's passion helped the visuals echo Dream's emotional arc, adding layers that many viewers might sense but never consciously notice. The casting choices themselves reveal some quirky and unexpected stories. For example, Gwendoline Christie, known for her striking presence, was initially hesitant to take on the role of Lucifer. She worried about portraying a character so steeped in myth without falling into cliché. But her desire to find nuance and depth led to one of the most compelling interpretations of Lucifer on screen: calm, commanding, and enigmatic. Off-screen, Christie brought her own sense of humor to the set, often lightening tense moments with unexpected jokes that surprised the cast and crew. Kirby Howell-Baptiste, who plays Death, reportedly had a unique preparation method. She spent time volunteering at hospice centers to better understand the experience of people facing the end of life. This real-world empathy infused her performance with warmth and authenticity, making death feel less like an abstract concept and more like a compassionate guide. This dedication wasn't widely publicized, but it added a subtle emotional weight to her scenes that resonated deeply with viewers. Another behind-the-scenes gem involves the costumes. The wardrobe team faced the challenge of designing outfits that reflected each endless sibling's personality without relying on obvious fantasy tropes. Dream's dark, almost gothic look had to feel timeless yet modern, and they achieved this by blending Victorian influences with minimalist lines. Desire's wardrobe, on the other hand, mixes androgynous fashion with bold textures and colors, creating a visual tension that mirrors the character's manipulative nature. Wanda's costumes evolved throughout the season as well, symbolizing her transformation. Early on, her clothes are practical and subdued, but as her story unfolds, hints of more mystical elements creep into her style. Subtle embroidery, changing fabrics that catch the light differently. These choices were deliberate, guided by close collaboration between the actress and costume designers, highlighting how clothing can tell a story without words. On the technical side, the sound design team deserves a shout-out for their innovative work. The Dreaming's atmosphere was crafted with layers of ambient sounds, whispers, distant echoes, and sometimes a subtle heartbeat beneath scenes. Creating these soundscapes required field recordings in unusual places, from abandoned buildings to deep forests, and then weaving those sounds into the score. The result is an immersive experience that pulls viewers deeper into Dream's realm. One of the strangest facts about production involves the filming locations. Although much of the Dreaming was digitally created, many scenes were shot in real-world locations that looked otherworldly on camera. A particularly memorable spot was an old Victorian greenhouse with overgrown plants and broken glass, chosen to represent Destiny's Garden. The crew had to work around natural light changes and weather, sometimes delaying shoots for hours. But the natural decay and eerie beauty of the location added a layer of authenticity that CGI alone couldn't replicate. There were also moments where the production faced unexpected disruptions. During one intense shoot featuring the Kindly Ones, a sudden storm forced the team to halt filming and scramble to protect delicate props and costumes. Instead of breaking the momentum, the cast and crew used the downtime to rehearse and explore character backstories, deepening their performances. This adaptability became a hallmark of the season's production ethos, a willingness to embrace unpredictability. The writing process behind Season 2 is itself a treasure trove of stories. Neil Gaiman and the writing team worked closely to adapt complex, dense source material into scripts that balanced mystery, emotion, and mythology. Some scenes were rewritten multiple times to find the right tone. Too much exposition risked bogging down the narrative, while too little left viewers confused. Finding that balance required patience and creativity, and sometimes late-night brainstorming sessions that stretched into the early morning. One controversial moment linked to the season involved the depiction of certain mythological figures. Some viewers debated whether the show's portrayal of the Furies and their role as agents of vengeance was too harsh or one-dimensional. The creators defended the choice by emphasizing that the Furies represent cosmic justice, a necessary force in a story about consequences and balance. This discussion sparked broader conversations about justice, punishment, and forgiveness, topics that the Sandman doesn't shy away from. Cast interactions also brought surprising stories. For example, there's a well-known anecdote about the chemistry between Tom Sturridge and Jenna Coleman, who plays Wanda. Their off-screen friendship helped foster a trust that translated beautifully on screen, especially in emotionally charged scenes. Coleman has spoken in interviews about how Sturridge's calm presence helped her navigate the emotional complexity of the role. The special effects team faced unique challenges bringing the endless siblings' powers to life. For Desire scenes, they experimented with practical effects like colored smoke and light projections to create an unsettling, fluid aura. Dream's powers required subtle visual effects, ripples in the air, shifting shadows, that had to feel natural but supernatural. Balancing spectacle with subtlety was a constant challenge, and many effects were adjusted repeatedly after test screenings. Interestingly, the production also used traditional storytelling tools alongside modern tech. For example, some sequences employ shadow puppetry or stop-motion effects as a stylistic choice, evoking the feeling of old fairy tales. These moments stand out visually and emotionally, providing a break from CGI-heavy scenes and paying homage to the oral. Difficult, leading to several humorous outtakes where Matthew refused to cooperate, much to the amusement of the crew. Finally, the music deserves mention as a character in its own right. The composer experimented with blending classical orchestration with electronic sounds, creating a soundscape that's at once timeless and modern. Recording sessions featured musicians playing instruments in unconventional ways to produce eerie, dreamlike tones. This innovative approach mirrors the show's themes of blending reality and fantasy, tradition and change. From the very first moments of the Sandman Season 2, certain scenes demand your full attention. Not just because of stunning visuals or gripping dialogue, but because they pulse with emotional resonance and thematic depth that stay with you long after the credits roll. These key moments shape the entire viewing experience, revealing what the story truly seeks to say about identity, power, and the fragile nature of dreams. One of the most striking scenes arrives early in the season when Dream confronts the weight of his past decisions. The quiet tension is palpable as the camera lingers on his face, showing not just stoicism but the subtle flickers of regret beneath. It's in this scene that the show shifts from a story about cosmic beings into something deeply human. Viewers respond not just to the spectacle but to the vulnerability exposed, Dream's acknowledgement that even gods carry scars. This moment anchors the entire season emotionally, setting a tone where strength and frailty coexist. The confrontation with the Kindly Ones is another standout moment, blending mythological terror with raw emotional stakes. Here, the show excels at tension building, layering unsettling silence with sudden bursts of violence that shock without feeling gratuitous. But beyond the surface, the scene taps into themes of justice and retribution. The Furies are more than villains. They represent the inexorable consequences of broken oaths and betrayed trust. The audience's unease isn't just about fear but about moral reckoning. This scene sparks intense reactions. Viewers are drawn into questioning what justice truly means and whether revenge can ever be justified. In the midst of these intense encounters, moments featuring death offer a striking counterbalance. Kirby Howell-Baptiste's portrayal brings warmth and grace to a character often depicted as cold or distant in popular culture. One scene where death comforts a grieving soul stands out as a quiet, profound pause. It reminds viewers that endings can also be gentle transitions, and that death, while feared, is part of life's cycle. The emotional depth here resonates widely, sparking conversations among fans about how the show reshapes common perceptions of mortality. Wanda's arc contains some of the season's most emotionally charged moments, particularly as her story shifts from confusion and pain to empowerment. A pivotal scene where she confronts her own identity amid swirling dreamscapes is a masterclass in visual storytelling. The use of light and shadow mirrors her internal struggle, while the haunting score amplifies her isolation and determination. This moment crystallizes the season's exploration of transformation, how facing inner chaos can lead to newfound strength. Audience reactions often highlight how relatable and moving Wanda's journey feels, grounding the fantastical elements in real human experience. Another key moment lies in the interactions between Dream and his siblings. The nuanced performances bring layers of sibling rivalry, love, and resentment that mirror real family dynamics despite their cosmic scale. When desire taunts Dream with whispered provocations, the scene crackles with tension but also reveals deep wounds. These exchanges peel back layers of their immortal facades, showing that even eternal beings grapple with jealousy and regret. This complexity invites viewers to reflect on their own relationships, making the story feel intimate despite its mythic scope. The season also uses silence and stillness to powerful effect. In one scene where Dream walks alone through a desolate landscape, the absence of dialogue and music forces viewers to focus on the atmosphere and subtle facial expressions. This quiet moment is heavy with meaning. It conveys isolation, the burden of responsibility, and the weight of endless time. It's a reminder that sometimes the most impactful storytelling happens not through words but through mood and presence. Audiences often mention this scene as one that lingers in memory, a quiet breath amid chaos. Visually, the season peaks with a dream sequence that defies traditional narrative logic. It's a swirling montage of images, fractured memories, symbolic creatures, and shifting landscapes that captures the essence of the dreaming itself. This scene's brilliance lies in its ambiguity. It resists easy interpretation, inviting viewers to find their own meaning. The emotional impact is immediate. There's a sense of wonder mixed with unease, reflecting the dual nature of dreams as both sanctuary and labyrinth. Critics have praised this sequence for pushing the boundaries of visual storytelling on television, making it a highlight in the season's artistic achievements. The thematic significance of these key moments becomes clearer when viewed together. The season repeatedly explores how identity is fluid, shaped by memory, choice, and consequence. Whether through dreams' introspection, Wanda's transformation, or the relentless pursuit by the kindly ones, the story asks, who are we beneath the roles we play? These scenes aren't just plot points. They're reflections on the human condition, wrapped in myth and magic. Audience reactions amplify the power of these moments. Social media buzz often centers on emotional scenes, with fans sharing personal stories of how the show's themes resonate with their own struggles. The fandom's engagement turns the viewing experience into a communal conversation about loss, forgiveness, and hope. This dialogue between the story and its audience enhances the show's cultural impact, transforming it from entertainment into a shared journey. The show's pacing also plays a key role in how these moments land. Rather than rushing from one spectacle to the next, the narrative allows space for emotions to settle and for characters to breathe. This deliberate pacing makes the climactic scenes hit harder because viewers have invested time in understanding the characters' journeys. The emotional payoff feels earned, not forced. In the end, these key scenes shape the overall experience by weaving together spectacle, emotion, and theme into a seamless whole. They remind us that the Sandman isn't just about gods and magic. It's about the dreams and nightmares that live inside all of us. The season's ability to make cosmic concepts feel personal is what sets it apart, making every impactful moment a mirror reflecting our own hopes, fears, and transformations. From the moment the Sandman Season 2 began taking shape, it was clear the creators aimed to push boundaries, not just in storytelling, but in how the world of dreams and myth could be brought to life with fresh creativity. What makes this season stand out isn't just its rich narrative, but the seamless blend of artistry and technology that invites viewers into realms both fantastical and deeply emotional. One of the first production breakthroughs came in designing the dreaming itself, a place that needed to feel alive yet untethered to reality. Rather than relying solely on digital effects, the team crafted a hybrid environment. Practical sets were built with meticulous detail, crumbling ruins, twisting staircases, and endless corridors that seemed to stretch beyond the horizon. These physical spaces gave actors real ground to interact with, allowing for performances rooted in tangible surroundings. Yet, practical sets alone couldn't capture the fluid, ever-changing nature of dreams. That's where the visual effects team stepped in with innovative techniques that blurred the line between reality and fantasy. Instead of traditional CGI backdrops, they experimented with volumetric captures, three-dimensional recordings that preserved subtle lighting and movement nuances. This approach gave scenes an organic feel, where shifting shadows and rippling light responded dynamically to the actors' movements. One memorable challenge involved a sequence where Dream walks through a cityscape slowly dissolving into mist. Early attempts at creating the mist felt flat or overly digital. To solve this, the team combined real smoke effects on set with layered digital enhancements. The result was a living, breathing environment that seemed to ebb and flow like a waking dream, a visual metaphor for Dream's own fragile grip on his realm. The season also showcased inventive camera work that enhanced storytelling without calling attention to itself. Long, uninterrupted takes followed characters through winding corridors or dreamlike landscapes, immersing viewers in the experience. These sequences demanded precise choreography between camera operators and actors, requiring dozens of rehearsals to get the timing just right. This technique heightened tension and intimacy, making moments feel immediate and unfiltered. Lighting played a crucial role as well, often reflecting characters' emotions and shifting narrative tones. For instance, scenes featuring desire use stark contrasts, sharp shadows and saturated colors that create an unsettling atmosphere. In contrast, dreams' quieter moments favor muted palettes and soft, diffused light, inviting reflection. This careful orchestration of light and color subtly guides the audience's emotional journey. Sound design is another unsung hero of the season's immersive quality. Beyond the musical score, which blends orchestral and electronic elements, the audio team crafted an intricate tapestry of ambient sounds. Whispers, distant echoes, even the faint hum of dream energy. These layers build texture, making the dreaming feel palpable. The team went to great lengths, recording sounds in unusual locations like caves, abandoned theaters, and forests to capture the right mood. These natural sounds were then manipulated and woven into scenes, grounding the fantastical in sensory reality. Behind the camera, the collaboration between directors and visual effects supervisors was key to maintaining a unified vision. Early on, disagreements arose about how much visual spectacle to include versus focusing on character-driven moments. The balance they struck allows the season to dazzle without overwhelming, letting the story breathe amid the spectacle. The show's makeup and prosthetics departments also broke new ground, creating looks that enhanced the otherworldly feel without veering into caricature. For example, the Furies' appearances were designed to unsettle subtly, their features slightly distorted, eyes glinting with unnatural light, skin mottled with ethereal patterns. Achieving this required custom prosthetics and makeup that allowed actors to express emotion freely, a difficult balance between artifice and authenticity. One behind-the-scenes story involves the intricate process of filming scenes featuring Matthew the Raven. Using a combination of trained birds, animatronics, and CGI, the production team worked tirelessly to create a believable, expressive character. Training live birds proved tricky. There are anecdotes of Matthew refusing to cooperate or flying off mid-shoot, leading to impromptu improvisations. These moments, while frustrating for the crew, brought a sense of humor and humanity to the set, reminding everyone that even in a world of gods, unpredictability reigns. Another technical achievement lies in how the series integrates practical effects with post-production. For example, scenes involving Dream's powers use subtle ripples in air, shifting shadows, and changes in texture to suggest his influence. These effects were layered carefully. Too much would feel showy. Too little would be lost. The creative team struck a delicate balance, achieving a quiet power that enhances the narrative rather than distracting from it. The soundstage itself became a character of sorts. Some sequences were filmed on elaborate sets designed to be adaptable, with walls and floors that could shift or change texture between takes. This flexibility allowed for seamless transitions between different dream realms and moods, keeping the story visually fluid. The actors often spoke about how working in these dynamic environments deepened their immersion, allowing more spontaneous and authentic performances. Costuming further contributes to the narrative texture. Each endless siblings look reflects their essence without relying on overt symbolism. Dream's dark, timeless attire feels both ancient and contemporary, while Desire's wardrobe disrupts expectations with a mix of sharp tailoring and flowing fabrics. The costume department even used subtle wear and tear on garments to show passage of time or internal conflict, such as Dream's cloak fraying during moments of vulnerability. The season's editing style complements these creative choices. Editors worked closely with directors and composers, shaping scenes to emphasize mood and rhythm. Some sequences unfold deliberately slowly, encouraging contemplation, while others snap into quick cuts that heighten tension. This fluid pacing keeps viewers emotionally engaged, letting them sink fully into the story's ebb and flow. One of the most groundbreaking narrative techniques used was the integration of nonlinear storytelling, particularly in flashbacks and dream sequences. Rather than sticking to a linear timeline, the show weaves past and present, reality and fantasy, creating a tapestry that mirrors how memory and dreams operate. This approach demands careful coordination across departments, from writing and directing to visual effects and editing, to ensure coherence without losing mystery. The result is a storytelling style that challenges and rewards viewers, inviting multiple viewings to catch every nuance. Another production insight reveals how the team prioritized diversity and representation behind the scenes as much as on screen. Writers and consultants from various cultural backgrounds helped shape characters and themes, enriching the story's depth. This collaborative spirit allowed the season to explore universal ideas through specific, authentic perspectives. Finally, the production's commitment to practical effects alongside digital innovation reflects a larger philosophy, grounding the fantastic in the tangible. Whether it's a crumbling staircase or a flicker of dream energy, the show carefully balances what can be physically touched with what must be imagined, creating a unique sensory experience. This blend makes the Sandman feel not just like a story told to viewers, but a world they can step inside. As the Sandman Season 2 unfolds, it becomes clear that beneath its mesmerizing visuals and intricate plot lies a rich tapestry of themes and symbols that speak to something far larger than the world of dreams alone. This isn't just a story about gods and mortals. It's a profound meditation on identity, power, and the complex dance between control and freedom that shapes our lives. At its core, the season grapples with the nature of change. Dream, the eternal ruler of the dreaming, is faced with the consequences of his past choices and the realization that even immortals are bound by transformation. This tension between stasis and growth plays out across the narrative, inviting viewers to reflect on their own resistance to change and the possibilities that come when we embrace it. The dreaming itself, ever-shifting and unpredictable, becomes a living metaphor for life's constant flux, beautiful, frightening, and impossible to fully master. This theme of transformation extends deeply into the characters' arcs. Wanda's journey, in particular, symbolizes the struggle to reclaim agency amid confusion and pain. Her evolving identity mirrors broader questions about how we define ourselves beyond the labels society imposes. The dreamscapes she navigates, sometimes chaotic, sometimes hauntingly serene, reflect the inner turmoil many face when grappling with who they are beneath external expectations. Her story reminds us that transformation is rarely neat or linear. It's messy, difficult, and deeply personal. Power dynamics emerge as another crucial layer. The season explores how power can both protect and imprison. Dream's authority over the dreaming is immense, yet it comes with profound isolation and responsibility. The Furies, embodiments of relentless justice, challenge notions of mercy and punishment, forcing characters and viewers alike to wrestle with moral ambiguity. These tensions echo real-world questions about authority, accountability, and the cost of wielding power without empathy. Symbolism is woven throughout the season with deliberate care, enriching the narrative without overwhelming it. The recurring motif of mirrors and reflections stands out, often used to suggest duality, self-examination, and the sometimes unsettling realization that what we see isn't always the whole truth. In moments where characters confront their reflections, the show probes the fragility of identity and the masks we wear. It's a subtle but powerful reminder that understanding oneself is a lifelong journey filled with illusions and revelations. Dream's cloak is another potent symbol. Its dark, flowing fabric seems to absorb light, representing both protection and concealment. As the season progresses and the cloak shows signs of wear, it parallels Dream's own vulnerability and the erosion of his once unassailable power. This visual metaphor quietly underscores the theme that no one, no matter how mighty, is immune to the passage of time and the scars it leaves behind. The dreaming itself is a symbolic realm where the subconscious mind plays out stories that reveal truths too difficult to face awake. Scenes set here often blur boundaries between reality and imagination, suggesting that our dreams are not mere fantasies but vital parts of our psyche. This idea resonates with the viewer on a primal level, tapping into the shared human experience of wrestling with fears, hopes, and memories that shape our waking lives. Social commentary emerges through the show's exploration of identity and marginalization. Wanda's narrative, touching on themes of memory loss and reclaiming selfhood, can be seen as an allegory for those whose voices and histories have been erased or suppressed. The way other characters interact with her speaks to societal tendencies to dismiss or control those who are vulnerable or different. Through this, the season gently critiques systems of oppression and highlights the resilience required to reclaim agency. The endless siblings themselves serve as embodiments of universal human experiences, dream representing imagination and creativity, death reflecting mortality and compassion, desire embodying temptation and ambiguity. Their interactions mirror real-world family dynamics, complete with rivalry, loyalty, and unresolved grief. This familial portrayal adds emotional depth and grounds cosmic concepts in relatable human emotions. Desire's ambiguous gender and fluidity become a subtle but powerful commentary on the complexities of identity beyond binary definitions. Their presence challenges characters and viewers to confront preconceptions and embrace multiplicity. This nuanced portrayal contributes to ongoing cultural conversations about gender, power, and self-expression, making the season feel timely and relevant without ever feeling didactic. Justice and vengeance intertwine in the narrative's darker moments, prompting reflection on how societies deal with wrongdoing. The Furies' relentless pursuit of retribution blurs the line between punishment and cruelty, inviting viewers to question where justice ends and obsession begins. This theme resonates in a world grappling with cycles of violence and the search for forgiveness, making the story's mythic struggles feel grounded in real human dilemmas. The season's use of light and darkness carries symbolic weight as well. Scenes bathed in shadow often represent confusion, fear, or concealment, while bursts of light suggest revelation, hope, or transformation. This interplay visually reinforces the thematic balance between despair and redemption, despair and the possibility of renewal. At times, the narrative touches on the power of stories themselves, the way myths, dreams, and memories shape our understanding of reality. Dream's role as a keeper of stories highlights the importance of narrative in constructing identity and meaning. This meta-layer invites viewers to consider their own stories and the ways they shape who they are, underscoring the season's broader meditation on the human experience. The emotional arcs throughout the season deepen these themes, creating moments where personal pain and cosmic significance collide. The show doesn't shy away from portraying grief, loss, and regret with honesty, making characters' struggles feel authentic and relatable. These raw emotions elevate the narrative beyond fantasy, allowing viewers to connect on a deeply human level. In weaving together these layers of meaning, the Sandman Season 2 achieves something rare. A story that entertains and dazzles while inviting profound reflection. It reminds us that beneath the surface of dreams and magic lie truths about who we are, the forces that shape us, and the choices we make. The season becomes not just a journey through fantastic realms, but an exploration of what it means to be human. From the very first frame of the Sandman Season 2, it's clear that every visual and auditory choice is deliberate, crafted to pull viewers deeper into the ethereal worlds the story inhabits. The season doesn't just tell a story, it invites the audience to live it, experience it through a rich tapestry of cinematic techniques that feel both bold and intimate. These choices define the show's identity, turning it from mere fantasy into an unforgettable sensory journey. The cinematography immediately sets a tone that balances grandeur with subtlety. Wide, sweeping shots introduce the dreaming as a vast, surreal realm. Endless staircases spiraling into twilight skies, fragmented architecture floating in voids of shifting color. These expansive visuals create a sense of awe and disorientation, reflecting dream's own complex domain where reality bends and time fractures. Yet, the camera never loses its human touch. Close-ups capture fleeting expressions, faint glimmers of pain, longing, or resolve, that root these mythic characters in deeply personal struggles. One of the season's standout techniques is its use of lighting to communicate mood and theme. Soft, diffuse lighting bathes Dream in muted blues and grays during moments of introspection, underscoring his isolation and weariness. In contrast, Desire's scenes burst with sharp contrasts, crimson and gold cutting through shadow, to reflect their provocative, unpredictable nature. These carefully calibrated palettes don't just enhance the story visually, they guide the audience's emotional responses without a word spoken. Editing plays a crucial role in shaping the season's rhythm. The pacing varies thoughtfully, shifting between lingering, almost meditative sequences and sharper, urgent cuts that heighten tension. In dream sequences, editing becomes more fluid and abstract, with dissolves and overlays blending images into one another, echoing the elusive, fragmented nature of memory and subconscious thought. This stylistic choice immerses viewers in the blurred line between waking life and dreams, making the experience both disorienting and deeply compelling. Sound design complements these visuals with equal care. Beyond the evocative score, a blend of orchestral swells and subtle electronic textures, the ambient soundscape fills the dreaming with life. Whispering winds, distant echoes, and the subtle hum of unseen forces create a layered acoustic environment. These sounds do more than set atmosphere. They become characters in their own right, whispering secrets and underscoring emotional beats. Moments of silence, too, are used masterfully, allowing tension to build or grief to resonate, reminding viewers that what's not heard can be as powerful as what is. The musical choices stand out for their versatility and emotional depth. Composer Daniel Hart crafts themes that feel timeless yet modern, weaving motifs that reflect characters' inner journeys. Dream's theme carries a haunting melancholy, tinged with quiet strength, while Wanda's motifs shift from discordant and fragmented to more harmonious as her arc progresses. These musical threads enrich the narrative, connecting disparate scenes through sound and deepening emotional impact. Visually, the season experiments boldly with camera movement. Handheld shots ground intimate moments in raw immediacy, especially when characters face emotional turmoil or confrontation. These dynamic angles contrast with slow, deliberate dolly and crane shots used to reveal the vastness and mystery of the dreaming. This interplay mirrors the story's shifts between the personal and the cosmic, making the audience feel both connected and awed. One unique stylistic choice is the use of color grading to mark shifts in reality. The waking world often appears washed out or muted, highlighting its mundane, constrained nature, while the dreaming pulses with saturated, surreal hues. This contrast reinforces the theme that dreams are vibrant, limitless spaces where transformation is possible. It also helps orient the viewer, subtly signaling when the narrative slips between different realms. The season's visual effects deserve special mention for their seamless integration with practical elements. Rather than overwhelming scenes with CGI, effects are used sparingly but meaningfully. Subtle distortions ripple through the air when Dream exercises his power, shadows shift unnaturally during moments of threat, and ethereal creatures appear with a blend of physical presence and digital enhancement. This restraint enhances believability, making the fantastic feel tangible rather than cartoonish. Costume and makeup design further enrich the visual storytelling. Dream's dark, flowing garments seem to absorb light, visually reinforcing his enigmatic, shadowed nature. Desire's wardrobe defies convention, often striking, provocative, and fluid, capturing their complex identity. These designs aren't just aesthetic. They communicate personality and mood before a word is spoken, showing the power of visual cues in narrative. Another striking technique is the interplay between scale and perspective. Scenes shift suddenly from expansive vistas to tight close-ups, playing with the viewer's sense of space. For example, a vast dreamscape may suddenly narrow into a claustrophobic corridor, mirroring a character's emotional confinement despite their cosmic setting. This manipulation of space deepens immersion and heightens emotional tension. The direction consistently prioritizes performance, using cinematic techniques to highlight subtle acting choices. Close-ups linger on micro-expressions, raised eyebrows, slight tremors of the lip that reveal unspoken thoughts. These moments add layers to the storytelling, inviting viewers to read between the lines. The camera's quiet focus on these details creates a sense of intimacy, making even larger-than-life characters feel deeply human. Dialogue scenes often use tight framing and shallow focus to isolate characters visually, emphasizing their solitude or emotional distance. In contrast, scenes of connection, whether fraught or tender, expand the frame, allowing more space for interaction and movement. These framing choices echo the emotional stakes, reinforcing the narrative through visual means. Transitions between scenes showcase inventive visual storytelling. Rather than simple cuts, the season often uses match dissolves or graphic matches, where shapes or colors from one scene morph into the next, creating a flowing, dreamlike progression. This technique supports the overarching theme of blurred boundaries between reality and fantasy, memory and present. One particularly memorable sequence employs a kaleidoscopic effect to depict the fragmentation of memory. The visuals shatter and recombine, layering images to convey confusion and emotional turmoil. Combined with dissonant sound design, this scene immerses the audience in the character's fractured psyche, demonstrating how cinematic tools can evoke complex inner states. The show's use of symbolism through visual motifs also stands out. Recurring images, a shattered mirror, a burning candle, shifting shadows, appear throughout, linking themes of identity, mortality, and transformation. These motifs aren't overtly explained but invite viewers to engage actively, piecing together meaning and enriching the viewing experience. Lighting effects extend beyond mood setting to storytelling itself. Strategic use of silhouette and backlighting creates mystery, often obscuring faces to emphasize anonymity or internal struggle. In key moments, shafts of light break through darkness, symbolizing hope, revelation, or change. This visual language reinforces the narrative's emotional beats without relying solely on dialogue. Sound editing shines in action sequences, where the clash of ethereal forces is conveyed through layered audio. Sharp metallic clashes, whispered incantations, and sudden silences that amplify impact. These scenes balance spectacle with emotional weight, ensuring that the soundscape supports rather than overwhelms the story. The collaboration between director, cinematographer, composer, and editors is evident in the seamless integration of all these elements. Every visual and auditory choice feels purposeful, aligned to serve the story's themes and character arcs. This cohesion elevates the season from a series of episodes into a unified artistic statement. What truly sets the season apart is its refusal to treat cinematic techniques as mere decoration. Instead, every shot, cut, sound, and note is woven into the storytelling fabric, creating a richly layered experience. This approach transforms viewers from passive observers into participants, drawn into the dreamscape's mysteries and emotions. In the end, the Sandman Season 2's visual storytelling isn't just about dazzling effects or clever editing. It's about using every tool cinema offers to deepen our understanding of characters, themes, and worlds. This artistry invites repeated viewing and reflection, revealing new details and emotions with each encounter, much like a dream itself. From the moment the cameras started rolling on the Sandman Season 2, the chemistry between the cast set the tone for a series that thrives not just on its fantastical plot, but on deeply human connections. Watching the actors interact, it's clear that the relationships portrayed on screen are more than just scripted moments. They're reflections of real bonds formed behind the scenes. This genuine rapport elevates every scene, making complex emotions feel raw and authentic. At the heart of this chemistry is the lead actor playing Dream, whose portrayal captures both the character's vast, otherworldly power and his fragile humanity. Working alongside a stellar ensemble cast, his nuanced performance is amplified by the palpable respect and trust shared with co-stars. These moments of vulnerability and strength resonate more because the actors seem to feed off each other's energy, creating a dynamic that feels effortless even in its intensity. One standout partnership is between Dream and Wanda, whose evolving relationship anchors much of the season's emotional weight. The actors' off-screen friendship reportedly blossomed early in production, leading to spontaneous improvisations and subtle touches that added layers of depth to their scenes. This chemistry is evident in quiet exchanges, a lingering glance, a hesitated word, that speak volumes beyond the dialogue. It's the kind of connection that invites viewers to lean in, sensing the unspoken histories and tensions beneath the surface. Supporting characters also benefit from strong on-set dynamics. The actors playing the endless siblings navigate a delicate balance of rivalry, affection, and cosmic gravitas. Their real-life camaraderie shines through in moments of levity, providing a counterpoint to the often heavy themes. These lighter interactions help humanize mythic beings, reminding the audience that even immortals grapple with family drama. Behind the scenes, stories abound that illustrate how these relationships shaped the season's tone. For example, the director encouraged the cast to spend time together off-set, fostering an environment where trust could flourish. One tale involves a late-night rehearsal where a pivotal confrontation scene was reworked on the fly, inspired by an impromptu discussion about sibling rivalry among the actors. This collaborative spirit gave the performances an organic, lived-in quality that's rare in productions of this scale. Set dynamics also played a critical role in forging chemistry. The production design team created immersive environments that invited the actors to explore their characters physically. Dream's sprawling, labyrinthine realm was not just a backdrop but a space that challenged and inspired, pushing performers to embody the surreal and the intimate simultaneously. Many actors mentioned how moving through these sets helped them connect emotionally, translating physical presence into nuanced performances. The use of practical effects and intricate costumes further grounded the actors' portrayals. Wearing Dream's heavy cloak or Desire's shifting attire was not just a visual element. It became a tactile reminder of their characters' burdens and complexities. This physicality enhanced their performances, making the otherworldly feel tangible. Audience reactions to the season highlight just how much this chemistry and authenticity paid off. From early screenings to public release, viewers praised the performances for their emotional depth and subtlety. Fans found themselves invested not just in the plot's twists, but in the relationships, rooting for reconciliation, mourning losses, and celebrating moments of connection. This engagement has fueled vibrant online communities where theories and favorite scenes are dissected with passion and care. Critics noted the season's ability to balance spectacle with character-driven storytelling, often singling out the cast's synergy as a major strength. Reviews praised how the actors brought complexity to roles that could have easily become archetypal, turning them instead into living, breathing individuals. This reception helped cement the show's reputation not just as a visual marvel, but as a deeply affecting narrative experience. Long-term fan engagement has been remarkable. Social media buzz, fan art, and detailed episode analyses keep the conversation alive well beyond each week's release. The cast's openness in interviews and interactions with fans has fostered a sense of community, making viewers feel like part of the story's unfolding journey. This ongoing dialogue blurs the line between audience and creators, enriching the show's cultural footprint. Memorable fan moments at conventions and virtual events highlight the genuine affection viewers have for the cast and their chemistry. Stories of actors responding to fans with warmth and humor add a layer of authenticity to the show's public persona, reinforcing the feeling that this is a living, breathing story shared between creators and audience. The synergy between cast and crew extends to the technical team, whose collaboration helped capture those fleeting moments of magic. Directors of photography, sound designers, and editors worked closely with actors to shape scenes that showcase subtle glances or a whispered line with cinematic precision. This teamwork created a seamless blend of performance and craft that invites viewers into the world rather than just showing it. Notably, the pressure of following a highly acclaimed first season brought its own challenges. Cast members have spoken about the weight of expectations and how leaning on each other helped navigate the emotional and physical demands of shooting. These shared experiences contributed to a tight-knit atmosphere on set, which translated into the series' emotional resonance. The emotional honesty that shines through also owes much to the show's willingness to explore darker, more vulnerable moments. Actors embraced the complexity of their roles, unafraid to expose flaws and pain. This courage deepened audience investment, creating a feedback loop where heartfelt performances sparked passionate viewer reactions, which in turn inspired even more daring acting choices. Ultimately, the season's success can be traced back to this intricate web of relationships, on screen, behind the scenes, and within the fan community. The cast's chemistry brought authenticity to a story about dreams and gods, making the fantastical feel grounded in real human emotion. Set dynamics provided a fertile space for creativity, while audience reactions confirmed that this wasn't just entertainment. It was an experience that resonated deeply. As the final credits of the Sandman Season 2 rolled, it became clear that this wasn't just another entry in the crowded landscape of fantasy storytelling. Instead, it marked a defining moment. A series that expanded the boundaries of its genre, challenged traditional filmmaking norms, and left an indelible mark on pop culture. Its legacy ripples far beyond its narrative, influencing creators, audiences, and the very way stories are told. At its core, The Sandman redefined what fantasy on screen could be. It blended mythic grandeur with intimate human drama in a way that felt fresh and necessary. Rather than relying solely on spectacle or familiar tropes, it dug deep into existential themes, emotional complexity, and philosophical inquiry. This approach inspired a wave of storytellers who saw that fantasy doesn't have to be escapist. It can be profoundly reflective, even transformative. Filmmakers began to take notice of the show's daring blend of visual artistry and narrative depth. The season's seamless mix of practical effects, inventive cinematography, and immersive sound design set new standards for how to bring abstract, metaphysical concepts to life without losing emotional resonance. Directors and cinematographers cited it as a touchstone for balancing style with substance, pushing their own projects to be more ambitious yet grounded. The show's influence extended beyond its genre into broader cultural conversations about identity, power, and storytelling itself. Its nuanced portrayal of characters who embody ideas rather than just personalities opened doors for more experimental narratives in mainstream media. It encouraged audiences to engage actively with symbolism and thematic depth, cultivating a culture of thoughtful fandom eager to dissect and discuss every frame. Awards and critical acclaim followed, but the show's true milestones are found in its lasting connections with viewers. It garnered prestigious nominations for visual effects, writing, and acting recognition that affirmed the creative risks it took. Yet, its most significant achievement lies in how it fostered a community around shared curiosity and passion. Fan conventions, online forums, and social media buzz keep the dialogue vibrant, reflecting a story that resonates on personal and collective levels. Over time, The Sandman Season 2 has become a reference point, a benchmark against which new fantasy series are measured. It's cited in discussions about elevating genre storytelling to art, blending literary influences with cinematic innovation. Its success challenged the industry to embrace complex narratives that don't underestimate audiences, proving that depth and accessibility can coexist. Moreover, the show's cultural impact touches on representation and inclusivity. By portraying characters with fluid identities and embracing ambiguity, it contributed to ongoing conversations about diversity in media. This openness enriched the narrative, allowing more viewers to see themselves reflected in stories of power, transformation, and redemption. The legacy also extends to how the series treats its source material. Adapting a beloved graphic novel with a devoted fanbase is no small feat, yet the show managed to honor the original spirit while carving out its own identity. This balance became a model for future adaptations, showing respect for fans and storytelling craft alike. Reflecting on why The Sandman remains significant, it's clear that its power lies in its dual ability to entertain and provoke thought. It invites viewers to explore dreams, fears, and desires through a lens that is both fantastical and deeply human. This timeless quality ensures it won't be forgotten or relegated to nostalgia. It continues to inspire and challenge, season after season. In the end, The Sandman Season 2 is more than a story about dreams or gods. It's a testament to the power of storytelling itself. It reminds us that stories shape how we understand ourselves and the world around us. By weaving complex characters, innovative filmmaking, and profound themes into a cohesive whole, it carved out a place in cultural history that will endure. This legacy is a call to creators and audiences alike, to embrace imagination without losing sight of humanity, to seek meaning in mystery, and to celebrate the stories that challenge us to dream bigger, think deeper, and feel more fully. And that is the enduring magic of The Sandman. Looking back on The Sandman Season 2, what truly stands out is how it masterfully blends myth and humanity, weaving a narrative that feels both timeless and deeply personal. From its breathtaking visuals to the emotional depth of its characters, the season invites us to explore the very nature of dreams, identity, and destiny. It's a show that doesn't just tell a story but pulls you inside, making you feel the weight of every choice, the ache of every loss, and the thrill of every revelation. At its core, this season excels because it refuses to settle for easy answers or surface-level spectacle. Instead, it embraces complexity of character, theme, and world building. Dream's journey is as much about understanding himself as it is about confronting external forces, and through him, we're invited to reflect on our own desires and fears. The rich supporting cast adds layers of intrigue and humanity, ensuring that every subplot feels meaningful and interconnected. Visually, the season pushes boundaries. It captures the surreal beauty of the dreaming with a style that's both imaginative and grounded, blending practical effects, thoughtful cinematography, and a haunting soundscape that immerses you fully. These elements don't just decorate the story, they tell it. They speak to the fragility and power of dreams, the fleeting nature of memory, and the eternal dance between light and shadow. Performance-wise, the chemistry among the cast brings the script's nuance to life. The subtle exchanges, the moments of tension and tenderness, all contribute to a sense that these characters live beyond the screen. They are gods and mortals, archetypes and individuals, caught in stories that feel as ancient as time yet as immediate as the present. Beyond the story itself, the Sandman Season 2 has carved out a unique space in the cultural landscape. It's inspired discussions about what fantasy can be, how it can tackle profound themes without losing its magic. It's sparked fan communities eager to dive deeper, dissecting symbolism, performances, and visuals with passion. This kind of engagement speaks to a work that's more than entertainment. It's a shared experience, a conversation between creators and audiences. In all these ways, the season stands as a testament to the power of storytelling when done with care, ambition, and heart. It challenges us to think, to feel, and to dream alongside its characters. And as it leaves us eager for what comes next, it reminds us why we keep coming back to stories, to find pieces of ourselves, to explore new worlds, and to connect with others. If you love this breakdown, give the video a thumbs up and subscribe for more deep dives into the world of cinema. Let's keep exploring movies together.